that's what
right?
tires the
Is that
defense
right?
out. If you shift the ball around, you're shifting the defense, and then eventually the defense will tire, and then you'll have an open shot. Well, they don't.
They don't do
Our
that.
offenses don't tire the defense out, and the defense learns our offense. They know exactly where we want to get it passed, so they end up shooting the ball, and once and done, they don't rebound. They're just lazy. The girls have been developed bad habits, and they don't rebound the ball the way they need to. Like, they have been taught for some reason to watch the ball rather than to pick up somebody once the shot goes up. Because if you're picking up somebody and putting yourself in front of them, you're going to get the
The
basketball.
lights they have like just hang on the side.
Both the Towner people, my grandfather Towner and my grandmother Towner, both their families were here before the Revolution, and they had people that fought in the Revolution. I have a book that I gave you of my father's people that go back. I'm the 10th generation. You're the 11th. Your children are the 12th. Their children are the 13th generation.
Wow.
All right. Now, my grandmother was president of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and I have her pin that has a little spinning wheel and has her name inside. And she couldn't have been a daughter of the American Revolution if her people hadn't fought in the Revolution. Okay. Now, so I have heard from her when I was younger that Baron von Steuben was part of their relatives. They came from a part of Germany, and I think they called them Polish, but I'm not sure. But I had a Bible that belonged to her mother that was written in German, and I asked Brownie to read it once because Brownie had taken German in college, but he couldn't read it because it was a different kind of German. I don't know. So, but I did have this German Bible. Of course, I couldn't read it. Now, I found a paper written about Baron von Steuben, and I saved it and put it with what things I have about my relatives, my ancestors, and they said he really wasn't a baron. They just gave him that title. But he was a very, very good person to advise George Washington on fighting.
Military tactics.
Yeah.
And so forth.
But he actually wasn't a true baron, that they had given him that title. And I don't know anything about it. The only reason I saved it, if anybody ever wanted to find out about it, I thought they could go on the web and find out if Baron von Steuben had any relatives here and who they were and who his descendants were, and maybe they could check it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. So, now,
Well, you think they were related through this Christina Poland, then? Is it
that's right. That's where it would be related, not on the Towner side. It was definitely through her. She was of German extraction. The Towners were English all the way back. They lived somewhere outside of London. I don't know where, east or west or where. But it's in that, if you still have that book, it's still in it.
okay?
And one of the Towners who wrote that book, they have my father and Uncle Bert in the book as teenagers. Now they don't have who my father married or his children or from there on down, but you know them, you could write them up if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Betty and Paul and I, and mother, Effie Jones, who was Welsh. But now, I had a book which belonged to me. It was my father's book. And I gave that one to Danny. And I had gone through it as a teenager. You have to go from the front to the back. And I went with my father and Uncle Bert to their father and his father and all the way back to the beginning to Richard. But I didn't do it to this one. The book that you have was Uncle Bert's. And I didn't bother doing it again. You can't start with Richard and go down because you don't know which son had which son, so forth. But if you start in the back of the book with Uncle Bert and Paul, and go on, who their father was and his father was and his father was, you can get all the way back to Richard, which I had put a line under all of them that I gave to Danny, but I did that years and years and years ago when I was a teenager. Now, in my desk, the one that was by the piano and the couch and all, that has a raggedy old thing to hold things in. It's red. I think it's reddish. It's not a. It's like a folder that folds over and ties, and that has all this information in it that I have now. I didn't save
What is your recollection of D.B. Towner?
Of who?
D.B. Towner, the hymn writer.
Oh, he was my grandfather's brother.
Your grandfather's brother.
Yeah, my grandfather's brother. And his father was a music teacher. And I don't know whether I still have him. You can look when we get down to my place. I have a little songbook, not the big hymn book from church, but a Sunday school songbook. And I did have a paper in there of all the different people that he taught. Not the songwriter that you know, but his father. The other people like Bliss, P.P. Bliss and so forth, he taught a lot of those men that wrote the hymns in those days. And he was the one, I think, that was in that Yankee Boys singing group. Not my grandfather's father was in it, I think. That's the one.
I didn't count how many weeks it was into
Is that
January.
is that a Christmas present?
Yeah, this